Hey everybody, welcome back to another world building bonus episode. I'm joined today by Amy.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Still living the quarantine life and everything, but it's all good. Today we are doing kind of a sort of almost like a follow-up to a world building episode that we did last year. Listeners might remember we dove into the prompts for World Anvil's Summer Camp last year. Probably about the same time here, actually. I can't remember the dates, but we're doing that again, basically, long and short of it. It's Summer Camp 2020, so we're going to be taking a look at some of the world building prompts that have been given out as part of the community challenge, and hopefully coming up with some cool stuff for them. That's it. That's the episode. That's what we're doing.
We're spitballing.
Yeah. I am good at hosting episodes of podcasts. It's fine. This is how it goes. So yeah, I mean, there's 30 different prompts for this event, and we're definitely not going to look at all of them in this episode. We're just sort of going to pick and choose a few that kind of jump out at us, I think, and just kind of sort of apply them to our world of Vallanna, which, as always with these world building bonus episodes, listeners can find on World Anvil by searching Vallanna, or you can go on Google and type pretending. Actually, I checked this last time with Eden, but I've 100% forgotten it. If you Google pretending with dice World Anvil, will that get you to it? Let's find out.
It's Google, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the second result on Google. The first result takes you to our author's page. The second result takes you straight to the world. But yes, that's how you get there. If you Google Pretending with Dice World Anvil, that'll take you to our page for our custom setting. So let's dive straight into these prompts then, because there's quite a lot to look at here. We took a bit of a look before we started recording. And I think the one that jumped out at us first was there's one which is written as, if I can find it, write about the events of a devastating natural disaster in your world, either past or present. And on our Discord server, we've been talking an awful lot about cheesy 90s disaster movies. So, yeah, this one really was like a bit of a no-brainer.
Sideline, Daylight is on Netflix.
I still haven't got around to Daylight. Yeah, I even watched Geostorm before I watched Daylight. And what am I doing with myself? It was bad, but I knew that going in, and yeah.
Oh, poor Jared Butler.
Hey, look, I'm sure he got paid well for it. He's fine. He's doing fine.
Yeah. He's doing okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry.
No, he's fine. He's fine. But yes, so we're talking a lot about natural disaster movies, and the topic of volcanoes and stuff was thrown around. But I believe we're looking here. I think we're going to go for like an asteroid hit or something. That's what we were thinking, wasn't it?
Yeah, almost not quite a deep impact scale.
No, a little bit smaller, but still causing some damage. A little bit smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, still causing a lot of damage. We're looking at tying in with the pirate story that you ran.
Yes, which actually, God, that was about a year ago now, wasn't it? It's coming up on.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be only a one-shot, but...
it turned into a three-shot.
Which was fine. That's
fine. Look, sometimes that's the way it goes. And I'm really bad at pacing out my one-shots as well. But yeah, we thought we'd tie the natural disaster into a little bit into the lore of that. Spoilers if you haven't listened to it. Now might be a good time to actually pause and go listen to that fun 3-episode thing, so we don't accidentally spoil anything ahead, for you. People. Yeah, I mean, I know the location we're talking about is literally the episode of episode title of the third part, but that's fine. But yes, okay. Now's your chance. Now's your final chance to pause, go listen to us, have fun, and pretend to be pirates and stuff, and then you can come back in. Did you enjoy it? It was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, there we go. Right, welcome back. So in the third part of that, the party descended into the depths of the Sea of Valar to a sunken elven city called Eon Tarnis. And I'm not, not scared to admit that I literally had no idea there other than wouldn't it be fun if there was an underwater city? And that's about as far as my lore thinking went into on that. But that does open us up to the questions of why did the city sink? And what's the deal generally?
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
How old is the city?
Yeah. That was the thing as well. I think somewhere in that episode I said, or either that one or the one before it, I'd mentioned that to get the location of the city, the pirate guy, Pete Smiles, had talked to an old elf. And I can't remember if he remembered the city or he had remembered a rhyme about the city. But either way, it was a vague memory that I'd said it was about 2,000 years previously. That it had sunk.
I think I remember you saying as well that the elf was maybe drunk, or Smiles was drunk at the time.
Very possibly.
One of the two of them were drunk. So the details don't. I mean, you can always go back and listen to it and double check, but you can always be a bit fudgy on the details given that.
Yeah, definitely.
Alcohol is involved.
Yeah, in character alcohol, not
Yes.
I'm not drinking right now. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea that it happened quite a while back, far enough back that there's a sort of peasantry and not peasantry, but the people around now, by and large, it was way before their conception of things happening, and the 2,000 years sort of thing does sort of tie in because I mean, we don't know about any asteroid impacts 2,000 years ago. Well, in general, I'm sure scientists know about stuff. But it's the kind of thing I would imagine where the fallout from it, the flooding and land shifting and things and any kind of stuff is pretty much going to have passed into memory, and how things are now is just going to be thought of as no, that's how it is. That's what the land's like, not there used to be more here, but it's sunk, sort of thing.
Yeah, things all have changed. Rivers directions can even change.
Yeah, totally.
With volcanic activity, so yeah, it's a fun idea having the impact of a crater or a comet smash into the sea in the middle here of the Sea of Valar.
Yeah, I mean, listeners, if you go like we said on our World Anvil page, you can find a map. And in the sort of top left, there's an area which is called the Sea of Valar. There's a little yellow thing which marks the where the sunken city was in that story. I think we're sort of thinking it hit maybe 3 or 4 squares to the southwest of that. Yeah, around there. That'd be fun. Kind of that. So it's definitely talking a deep impact. That one landed in the sea, didn't it? It's not quite as big as that asteroid in that movie. God, I really want to rewatch that, but it's not on anywhere like Netflix or anything. And I might have to hunt down a Blu-ray copy or something. I'm getting off topic. Either way, it's not as big as that one, but it did cause a tidal wave and a decent amount of land, including the little bit that the now sunken city was on, sank.
I mean, you could have it that it also triggered an earthquake to make the tidal waves even more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Prominent. You could have the earthquake originate further down the coast because of the impact of the comet, and another cascade of more tidal waves.
Yeah, well, maybe that's
more
what
damage.
Split up the bit around. There's the town there called Steamhold.
Yeah,
all of the kind of it's all quite flooded out and everything. Maybe that was sort of as a result of there was some land sort of started sinking
Secondary
a bit.
flooding.
And it's just kind of the sea just comes in there sort of thing.
Have you seen? There's actually a really good example of this. Have you seen? There's a video came out recently of it's like a mudslide in Norway. I want to say.
Oh yeah.
And it's basically taking all these houses away, and that's literally the exact same thing of water going back to its natural levels, like back to the ocean. That could have easily have like fractured all these smaller islands, smaller parts of the bit around Steamhold.
Yeah. I like that. That's kind of
because that's more of a natural thing where the tidal waves have came, it's weakened everything around it.
Yeah,
and
a bunch of fishes sort of opened. And the sea kind of flooded in. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's created all these mudslides and stuff as well. So the land's all.
And then over the sort of 2,000 years, that's just turned into basically like a big kind of.
Yeah, it's stabilized itself.
Yeah,
it's reestablished.
Not kind of like a Lake District type thing, but sort of almost of like. It's just a big sort of, there's lots of little kind of islands just randomly kind of going a fair distance inland there, sort of thing.
It's like the Hebrides almost.
Yeah.
The Hebrides.
I haven't been there. My mum went there on a cycling. I think it was there, Hebrides.
I have not been there either.
Oh, there we go then.
I've not been that far west, actually.
Yeah. But that kind of, I'm actually looking at it thinking like, where did I get, I think actually the satellite photo that I've taken for this part of the country is actually Norway. Part of it. Cool. And then I've gone in and drawn in the water bits. So that might not have actually originally been water. This whole map is like a big collage of different places that I've kind of jammed together to get the geography that I wanted. But yeah, no, I like that idea. That it's sort of, like I say, it's really affected the landscape. And maybe, like I say, the elves, like the older ones, remember when it happened. It's probably written in some Dwarven chronicle somewhere about the land splitting and stuff. But the humans haven't really got. It's maybe like locked in some dusty, kind of tome somewhere. There's like talk of like, oh, the land did this, but it's not a well-known thing. Sort of.
It's like it's ancient history, really. It's like like if you want to find out about, I'll use an example: bog bodies. There's like specific examples of bog bodies, but the only people who find bog bodies interesting or the whole idea of it would find the books and read them.
Yeah, totally.
I only say that now. Yeah,
it's like it's not taught in history classes generally, like general history classes, but there's definitely like there's resources out there if people want to hear about it. And especially because our settings sort of, I don't know, I'm purposefully keeping it generally kind of vague as to it being sort of still the sort of D&D style quasi medieval sort of thing. But I've as we keep doing these world building episodes, I keep letting little anachronisms slip in here and there. Like all of a sudden we've got like ships with cannons on, but everybody's still walking around with crossbows and stuff. And like we just be like, just don't think about it. Don't think about it too hard. Like I just wanted a cannon.
I mean, you can just always have it that it's very limited in supply. It's not something like that. It's only the top tier kind of like villains that have it, or you get it specifically for
or the Navy
like,
has it and
art
that's it.
Or something.
Yeah.
I think we said that in one of the other.
I think we probably did. I got a memory like a sieve. Which is my way of saying like I'm thinking like most children when they're getting history classes, they're getting the vaguest at this point of like they learn local history and they learn like big stuff like we live in a country called Vallanna and this is the king and this and like in 200 years ago we fought the neighbors. Now we're friends because there was a demon war 70 years ago, and that's probably about the limit of it. And it kind of opens up its own like local interpretation of it as well. So you could have it like, oh, why is this area like this? Oh, it's because an old witch was like fighting a guy with a hammer and he smashed his hammer and it smashed all the ground or something. Some like folk stories. Just really didn't like carpenters.
And then it was this carpenter's wife that was the witch. They were having an argument.
Yeah, and that's
and that's why the ground cracked, and they're just like, no.
There's like an elf over in the corner going, I actually watched it happen, and
yeah, he's just like
nothing like that. What is wrong with you people?
Exactly. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Just there sipping his like espresso. Like, they're not going to ask me the questions. I'm not going to answer them.
I love how he's spinning espresso. Is he running a coffee cart in the middle of steamhold?
Yeah, maybe. That's funny.
That's quite funny, actually. He's been there all that time.
Yeah. He
watched it. He maybe even watched it happen while he was sitting sipping his espresso.
He's like, why do you think my corporate logo is a meteor?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why do you think the sleeves have the insignia of a comet?
It's not because I like out of business electronic superstores.
The sign above it says Comet Coffee.
It's just like, nobody ever asked me about this stuff. Like, what is, yeah.
Blatant advertising.
But yeah. So going back to the comet then, at least. So I'm thinking it caused like this tidal wave. So it's kind of, which also gives me a little bit of an excuse to why the mountains are all kind of screwed up there and not like they are a little bit further south with more traditional kind of like rivers and things.
Yeah.
I'm thinking as well, because we know where the sunken city is. Maybe the original kind of the tidal wave kind of broke off, and now there's only those 3 little islands left, which were maybe the tops of 3 mountains in the area, and the rest of it maybe going out to a little bit further to the northwest than the sunken city used to be above the sea, kind of like in a Doggerland sort of situation.
Yeah. I mean, you could have it that it was a series of arches that was leading, like a road, like a bridge, to the city itself, and the city was like a small like island or something at the end of this, like road, like natural archway road, and the wave just took out the bridges completely. Oh,
so rather than that being like a continuing sort of bit of land.
Yeah, it's just still a series of plinths, basically.
Well, we've already kind of got it sort of established, the Fallen Arch, that village that you guys went to in the area there, had the sort of arch looking out to the northwest, basically looking where the city was. So maybe that was like the end of the bridge sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Because I kept it a little bit vague as to like what the rubble under the sea was and that.
Yeah.
That kind of works.
It means that you don't have to like have like extra lore about this bit of land. It's just part of the the network to get to the mainland. Yeah.
So I mean, maybe it was like on like a small island, and that whole island sort of subsided.
Yeah.
Because that actually then would make more sense as to why the buildings were intact, rather than just like...
that works, yeah.
Yeah, like so that it just kind of sank.
Or in a sheet of irony, it was a crater that had wide sides.
Well, and then it just got like water came flooded over the top. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like completely flooded.
Yeah, I like that. That's kind of fun.
It was nestled inside of a crater, and a comet came
landed
and wiped
on
it out.
Maybe.
That didn't land. Irony.
Yeah, I think I kind of prefer the kind of bridge going out to sea, like a kind of Florida Keys sort of thing. But that is kind of funny. The if it was already in a crater and they're like, we forgot the one rule about not building below sea level. Flooding
we
can
shouldn't
happen.
Have dug into the earth.
Oh, our hubris.
It was our own fault. And not realizing that a comet had crashed.
So bigger picture, other than obviously the loss of the city and stuff. say, I think that'd be fun. That it kind of knocked down these sort of bridges and things, but maybe and as we said, kind of broke up some of the land around where Steamhold is. But I'm thinking kind of along that coast a little way, there was a lot of kind of maybe
flooding.
Lost quite a decent amount of the kind of original coastline. Like it all went out a fair bit further by and large.
Yeah. I mean, is that a small island above the Whitmouth?
Yes.
Area. You could have that was completely cut off as well. That was actually originally attached, maybe.
Yeah, I like that.
That part was all cut.
Like it broke through the causeway and that, and yes. Yeah, that's cool. And that's kind of happened in a couple of places. Like those unnamed islands at the top left were that was maybe one big kind of island before. I feel like doing an astronomy degree, I should know more about how much damage.
Well, to be honest, I was going to say that your rivers and everything and further down the coast is really like in keeping with what would have happened from like damage from a tidal wave. So the coastline actually really suits it. And the Whitmouth bit is clever as well because it's almost created like this whole big massive estuary down there as well. Because of the way that the water would have struck in like a 360, you'd have your 360 tidal wave.
Yeah.
Going in all directions. So it's kind of funky. Because it probably wouldn't have affected the island up to the northeast even, unless it probably would have run out of momentum by then.
I mean, each square is only 10 miles on each side.
Oh, maybe not then.
So maybe.
It probably got like it took some damage, but not
it got damaged,
too much.
but yeah, we don't. I don't know anything about those. I literally just drew them on a map. So we'll get around to doing something with those islands eventually. Maybe being the operative word there. But yeah, let's just say they took some water damage.
Undiscovered country.
Yeah.
Undiscovered country.
So yeah, I think this neatly. I like what we've come up with that. I think this neatly leads into the. You mentioned this prompt, the write about the history of a settlement that was almost entirely wiped out and was then rebuilt.
Yeah.
I think maybe Steamhold's kind of like a perfect candidate for that, where it's kind of right in the middle of all this kind of like we said, fissures opening and water flooding through, and it just was very lucky that it was it didn't fall into a fissure. And just ended up being on like the banks of this new sort of estuary sort of land.
I mean, you could have it that it was at risk of like a massive mudslide, but it kind of got, because it was destroyed, but everybody was safe maybe.
Yeah,
like nobody has to die. Like they had plenty of warning to get out because they saw, I mean, from that height you'd probably be able to see.
Yeah, if it went over,
see this massive water coming.
Yeah, well, and if the meteor went over coming from the southeast as well, there'd be like one guy like sitting on his porch, going like, "What the hell is that?"
What is that?
So everybody came out to watch it, and then it just exploded into the sea. Sort of. Oh God, how far away is that? 10,
it's
20,
like everybody
30, 40 odd miles, 50 odd miles away, and then they were like, oh, well, we should probably get to high ground.
I can imagine it's kind of like the reaction, I don't know why, but it came to my head, the Independence Day, when Will Smith's like getting up and he's getting the newspaper and everybody else around him is like scrambling for their shit and trying to leg it out of there, and he's like, what the hell's going on? And then he just looks up and he's like, what?
Neighbours moving out.
Pretty much.
I finally got tired of all these quakes.
Quakes. Yeah. Kind of like that. That kind of like everybody sees it and goes, nope, we're getting out of here.
Yeah.
Like it.
Including the elf who now runs a coffee shop.
Yeah. He's like getting them, right, we need to go. Grab the legs.
Quick.
Get the wheels.
Grab the samovar. We're going to high ground. Yeah, I like that. So that like maybe the flood came in, they got up onto that mountain side that's like right by it, and like had to sort of watch in horror as the flood came in and basically wiped out the town. But it being dwarven, a lot of the kind of more sturdy buildings were kind of had kind of deep foundations and were like fully like almost built from like not single blocks of stone, but like huge blocks of sort of like they weren't getting, you know, some flimsy human building. This is built to stand the test of time, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you could always have like a mine or something up there, or and that's where they all fled to.
Oh, up on the mountain, sort of thing.
Yeah,
they went and hid in the mine head. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. And there's so over the course of like, well, if we're saying it was vaguely 2,000 years, I would think they would actually fairly quickly rebuild it. After deciding like we're not going to abandon this. Maybe the mine, like the seam is too good. The seam of ore that they found, they're like, we can't abandon this place. We got to keep mining.
I was looking at the name as well, Steamhold. Maybe it's like a coal mine or something, or
maybe it used to be called something else, and now there's all this water here. They suddenly can run all their steam mills through it, so they've renamed it. They've got sudden access to water that they didn't have before, and they're making the best of it. And I don't know. That's kind of, there's a sort of there's quite a few names of places on this map where I've just dropped it on there, and now I'm sort of backing my way into like, let's come up with a reason why it's called this, and not just like, I thought it was funny to call something Crinkle or...
I was going to say, but Whitmouth kind of looks like a mashup between Whitley Bay and Plymouth kind of thing. And I was like, wow, did they have a vampire running around or something?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Well, I was kind of thinking mouth because it's like the mouth of a river, like, and there's a bunch of places like that, like Plymouth, Bournemouth, or the Bournemouth River is just like a stream.
Because I just saw I looked at the coastline as well, and I was like, that reminds me of Dracula.
Yeah, well, you know, why not? Maybe it is. Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah.
There's lots of mountains nearby.
Yeah, although can vampires cross running water? It's kind of a bad place to, like, either way he goes out of town, he's got to cross a river.
I'm sure they can in their bat form.
Yeah, sure. Sure, why not?
Flight has its advantages.
He's built like a slide he can go across to. Zip line, yeah. Maybe there's a vampire there, maybe not.
No, but yeah.
I like the idea that Steamhold was the one rebuilt though. That's kind of cool. I've sort of got this idea. I know this it's not a unique thing that like dwarves are like the natural engineers sort of thing. So the idea that they'd be the ones to be like, we've got all this water. There's got to be something we can do to improve our efficiency with it. So they've come up with a sort of steam engine. Like, no, I'm not talking like they haven't built like a train, but like they've built like a kind of primitive sort of steam kind of powered motor sort of thing that they use at the mine, and it's so brand new that they decided to rename the town. And maybe there's like a movement in there to be like, no, change the name back. We've always been called Fudgel, and we want to keep being called Fudgel. You know,
the Order of Fudgel.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know, something like that. Like it's been called Steamhold now for maybe 300 years, which is way too recent for the for the old timers taste sort of thing.
Yeah, the elf is like the primary advocate for the fudgers.
Yeah. The fudgers.
He's like, I'm fudgers, sorry.
No, I like it that they without thinking like they I mean, I just pulled Fudgel out of nowhere, but like they call themselves the Fudgers, and
he's the prime advocate, and he's like selling his coffee. He's got a protest sign.
Or maybe he's not fussed either way, and he's just cashing in because he knows these people are really hopped up on his coffee, and they're trying to get stuff done, and he knows
he's the real bad guy.
Capitalism is the real enemy here.
Yes, that's his excuse. Am I doing a crime? No. Well, no.
These
Then
people
you can't
want to buy
arrest
my
me.
coffee. I'm not forcing them to do anything.
There's nothing magical about my coffee. It's just coffee.
Why don't you try a bit, officer? Yeah, I like it.
I'll buy you with beans.
The finest beans imported directly from the south. Ooh, you can't get that flavour around here.
Sniff it, breathe it in.
Best cup of coffee this side of the the side of the mountains, you know. We feel like we've really got off track with this guy, but it's this always happens. We make some joke and then it becomes the focus of the whole thing.
he's one of the few witnesses to the original event. So. Yeah. But if you could have it that he's like, they have to go to him, but he'll be like, yeah, there's other folks as well, but their story's not as good as mine.
Yeah, maybe he's embellished it a little bit as well it's good for business.
Yeah, exactly.
He's telling it like he single-handedly saved like 3 small children and a kitten from the tidal wave. But mainly he's getting away with that because like there's maybe 1 or 2 other people who were there and they maybe don't live there anymore. Mm-hmm. And they're not there to like be like say like, what? No, he was the first into the mine. Like
yeah. He tried to throw a child out and say it was a bag of coffee.
He's very much the oh god, what's the guy's name? The guy in Titanic who's Rose's original
I know the guy. I can't remember his name.
Billy Zane. That's it. He's very much the Billy Zane of Steamhold.
Yep. Look, I have a child. It's the only thing I have. It's the only thing she has, or something like that.
So that's clearly a bag of coffee that you've drawn a face on. How dare you! This is my own darling child, Mocha. These
are my babies. And he pulls out, puts his hand in, and is like, "Look at my baby." Okay, I'm making him a bit too.
Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah,
the step too far.
Let's pull it back a bit. Yeah, but yeah, that's not canon. That's just
no. That's me embellishing his story.
Yeah,
he does.
But I like it. Yeah, he's like one of the few who remembers. He's a real character. Maybe he's just not fully the Billy Zane of it. He's embellished his story a little bit in the name of getting business. Yeah, I like
drumming up trade.
Yeah. So yeah, then maybe it's sort of, as I say, they didn't want to give up this sort of rich seam of whatever they're mining. I don't know, mithril. Yeah, let's call it mithril. Well, you know, because you can get iron anywhere, but mithril's rare. And I feel like if it was gold, the name would be something gold related.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems better to be like a natural.
Yeah.
A more common natural resource kind of thing.
Definitely. So that's the reason why they didn't just be like, well, town's destroyed, let's go somewhere else. They're like, no, the mine is fine. Rebuild the town. We need to keep mining this, you know.
I mean, you could have it. A lot of them are employed at the mine as well. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So they're like, well, our jobs are still here, sort of thing.
Yeah, our families are homeless, so we're gonna rebuild the town to.
Yeah. As soon as the waters settle, we're just going to realise where the new edge of safe edge of town is, and build a jetty or something, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Is there anything else we need to add about that settlement, really? I think this is right about the history, but I feel like that's like the inciting event of the thing, because other than that, it's just like another dwarf mining town that pretty much probably keeps to itself. I've done it in
self-contained.
A bigger, yeah, on the map I've got it in a bigger font than this is my sort of mental shorthand of like how big a place is how big of a font I've used for the name, and also how big the dot is, and it's not the smallest. So I'm thinking.
I mean, it could have gotten bigger over time as well with the new founding of the town. it could have grown in those, what did you say? Well, you can all...
Roughly 2,000 years, let's say.
Roughly 2,000 years. Yeah, so that makes sense. 2,000 years of time going past.
Yeah, because we had Shellfast being fairly new, only being like 300 years old, so still being considered like a fairly new place. So maybe this place has just been quietly operating away for quite a lot longer. And maybe it's kind of reached the limit, like it's reached like an equilibrium of like, this is about as big as the town's going to get.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
It's starting to like, maybe it's on the downturn now, kind of thing. Like the seam is maybe running out now, and that way it's still large, but it's probably diversified in its trade and things.
Where the waters have sort of reached their level, so maybe now there's like a fishing industry where there wasn't before. But dwarves don't really like going out on the sea, but there's some enterprising people from, whether humans or whatever, who've set up shop there being like, well, no, there's a lot of fish have made their way into these like inland waters, and we can get straight to the sea from here,
Yeah, and that valley behind it as well works really well for other resources too, so they could even have other mines going around. And they still have water access too, with where your rivers are. So the transportation of those goods is quite accessible for like all around the map.
Yeah, barges and stuff. There's a dot straight to the east of it that I haven't put a name to, but maybe that's because that's kind of on like the main trade road. Maybe they send the resources down to that one. I might move the dot slightly so it's in a bit more of a, it's kind of, it can all be changed. But yeah, I'll come up with a name for that at some point. A lot of names are just like, I'll occasionally sit down and be like, right, I've got a lot of dots here that need names. What's vaguely in keeping with the vibe I'm going for this place? And just come up with a bunch of stuff. But that's how we end up with places like Hog Trotter and stuff, where I'm just like, it's farming, whatever. It's fine.
Some of the names in that we have today are really bizarre for places.
Yeah.
So,
like I live near Pool, which is like a swimming pool with an E on the end for listeners. And it's literally like, I'm pretty sure it's called that because there's a really big natural harbour there. Like we're by the pool, but I might be 100% wrong, but that seems to track to me. It's like, I don't know. And that's where you get a lot of these like towns ending in mouth, because they're like at the mouth of that river and stuff. So I don't know, but it's tough naming places, like especially because you kind of want it to not. I've got to kind of keep in mind, like, okay, the Elven ones, I'm probably going to be putting an apostrophe in there at some point. The dwarf ones are usually kind of metal or mining related sometimes, and occasionally looking around I have chucked them into like another language vaguely, but only to mix things up a little bit. It's fine, we'll get around it. Okay, should we look at another prompt here? We'd sort of talked about doing the food focused event one, which is write about a food focused event in your world and describe how it's celebrated. I'd first said what about some kind of harvest festival, but I really liked what you had suggested off mic, which was that it was like well, I don't know, but you go through what you thought for that.
It was just a random hero who was like stopping a petty crime, and they got like, they had to eat their way out of the situation or something like that. It was something along that line. And his
story's gotten embellished into like a little local festival sort of thing.
Yeah. Like his deed was like he, like, I don't know, it was like some bandits trying to, or even local other villagers stealing food, and there was rationing going on or something, and he stopped them from like stealing excess food or something, but they tied him up and he had to eat his way out.
Maybe it was. Maybe this was like during the Demon War, and he was like it was like the apprentice, like, I don't know, was it we want to go with like butcher, or do we want to go with like cheesemaker or something like that? Either way, he was like locking up late at night or something. And like you say, there's rationing maybe because of the war.
Oh, and that someone attacked him.
And yeah, people
kind of thing.
Like it was bandits maybe. Like that makes more sense if it was like out of towners that people in the village didn't know.
And they were just like raiding places as they went.
Like bandits trying to get food and stuff. And like they kind of, I don't know, they locked him in a crate with all the, I don't know, what do we want to go with, butcher or?
I say butcher.
Yeah.
Butcher sounds more fun.
So then
more challenging as well.
Yeah, and like they were real sadistic and like they knocked him out and tied his hands up with a string of sausages or something. Locked him in the like storage. I don't know. And he had, like you say, he had to eat his way out, and then he managed to like save the day. And now the village celebrates Sausage Tuesday or something. Oh, how does that grab you?
I'm trying to think what foodstuffs. I think maybe the cheese wheel's a lot easier to like stick him in.
Oh, what? So there's like a hole in the middle of a cheese wheel.
Yeah. Or they threw him through a cheese wheel.
Okay.
And he got stuck
like
in
a
the
really
cheese wheel.
big
They're
cheese
like, right,
wheel.
your deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like,
really big.
So it's like pinning his arms to the sides and everything.
Yeah, and he can't. He has to eat his way through the cheese.
Yeah.
To get out. Because the butcher is a bit more difficult because you can't really get stuck in meat because of the bones. Unless they like stick him in a cow carcass or something.
That's really grim.
Yeah, that is really grim. Or like the bars were made of like the ribs or something, and he had to like eat his way through the ribs.
That's really.
But that's a bit more.
That's really dark.
That's more. Yeah, exactly. I think the cheese one's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like friendlier.
So like okay, so then they have like what, like cheese wheel day,
fondue Friday.
It's going to be every week.
Or just like a special Friday of the like the first Friday of like
when would be
on the month that happened or something.
Yeah.
Like,
so they have like every year they have like a giant like cheese day.
Fondue Friday.
Yeah. Okay, we'll call it Fondue Friday then.
Oh, it's cheese. Can't exactly have cheese sandwich day.
Well, no. I just mean that like there's all kinds of like cheese related events in it. So there's like they roll the cheese wheels down the hill. We'll pull that in, which is like a real thing that gets done.
Yes, definitely.
There's like a reenactment contest thing where they put people in like the wheels of cheese and like the first person to eat their way out. Best
sculpture event.
Oh yeah. You could cheese sculpture. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, like the first person, the crowning like event is the one where they put people in the same situation and like what you want to do to be crowned like head cheese, the big cheese, for the year is
yeah.
You're gonna be the first one to eat your way out of this cheese wheel.
Fastest time wins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's people who train all year. They're like like a Rocky style montage, except instead of punching carcasses, they're just eating cheese.
Opposite. I've got like lumberjack tossing the caber kind of like big buff guys.
Oh, yeah,
trying
definitely.
to do the cheese. Trying to eat their way through the cheese.
Like who can carry the most amount of cheese for the it's like cheese weightlifting.
Turn it into like some like Highland Games /
oh yeah, no, totally.
Food games.
Yeah.
The gladiators of cheese.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
that's the best.
And then you'd have like you have like cakes, caked contests and stuff at like your local like farmers market. You'll have cheese contests.
Yeah, definitely. Or like a sort of
for the more sophisticated types.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. There's like a who's made the best one, but then there's all these like events that are like, you know, like you say, the weightlifting and the eat your way out thing and the rolling down the hill thing. But like, yeah, the actual like the cheese makers have like, come on, they've got their own varieties and little spice. Like,
the creme
you've
de
put
la
a bit of
creme.
cinnamon in this year, you know. That's got a smoky taste to it this
And
this
the
year.
fondue thing is for the vegetables and like other foodstuffs and that for them to like, how does your vegetable go with the prime cheese kind of thing?
The prime cheese.
The prime cheese. Like that year's winner. Does it complement this year's winner?
This is like the biggest social event of the year for this. Like, well, actually, that's another thing. Where are we going to have this? In kind of like the middle bit where there's
where's your cheesiest name?
That's a good one. That's a good question. Bearing in mind as well, like big parts of this, I am going to go in and add more dots because I've realized like all the dots I've got in are like 20 miles apart and stuff like that. And like you're going to have a lot of little villages and stuff. But the place where I've got them kind of most sort of scrunched together is kind of in the middle, but sort of to the left, where there's all kind of Alfred Mill and Davy's Orchard and that kind of thing. What's the cheesiest name there? Smort is pretty cheesy.
That is very cheesy.
Yeah. The Smort Cheese Festival. It's kind of fun. I know Gammet's kind of fun, but that's more kind of got I don't know, in my head is like a kind of meat connotation with that.
Crinkle cheese.
I quite like that actually, yeah. The crinkle cheese day. Fondue Friday and crinkle. Yeah, and it's like the local...
There's Bourdon as well, which is kind of Frenchy.
Well, yeah, the other side of the border, the big yellow line, is the... we're now into Ashala, which is my unashamed, just like, it's France. Well, we actually... Eden and I talked about this in the last one. It's more kind of like it's a mishmash of France with kind of bits of Orlais from Dragon Age kind of vibe to it and that, and... yeah, but no, that actually around about that area where we got, I like Crinkle as a place to be doing it, but I say that we're leaning into like, the French like cheese, so maybe the Ashalans like cheese as well. But that whole area, sort of around, sort of that collection of villages, and that is meant to be kind of
city,
like
Caville. Is it Caville?
Could be.
Caviel.
Look, it looked vaguely French when I typed it. That's why it's called that.
Or Cavel.
Yeah, Cavel. Yeah.
Cavel Cheese Festival.
Yeah. Possibly.
I mean, you could have it that all the even on the Vallanna side, all the villages down there and all the villages around there are the main competitors for the honor.
So each village brings their cheese to it.
Yeah, or the best person from that village. Like each village has its own little
the cheese eating champion,
and then they go to like Caville for the
for the regionals,
the showdown.
I like that. Well, no, because that's in another country, so maybe like they have it there, but then there's like a competing scene on the other side of the border where they do the same thing, and then every year it kind of like splits. So like Caville hosts like the big event one year, Midrest the next year, and like it's like this year we're hosting the cheese event of the season, you know?
Yeah.
I
think every other year is good, because if it was like whatever the winner was. Like if it was a Caville or a Shala or a Vallanna person, then it would be a bit more unfair. It'd be a bit more resentment. But every year it works a bit more fairly. So it's like
a little bit in this whole kind of like area here of the countryside.
It's cheese country.
Yeah, this is welcome to cheese country.
There's cows everywhere.
Forget it, Jake. It's cheese country.
Yeah.
Well, that might.
You could have so many.
Yeah, I like it.
You could have so many like cow thefts. Like, bandits have stolen my cows.
Not Bessie. No.
It's my award-winning cow.
Yeah. No, I like it now because now we've come up with a whole like sort of local scene of like cheese making that's like on both sides of the border, and there's like a fierce rivalry between like, no, we'll show those a Charlotte this year.
Yeah, it's friendly rivalry though. It's like not rivalry that really matters. Like they're not going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Too much unless someone like prominent dies, and then it's like, guys, it's cheese.
Well, no, but then that opens the thing of like maybe once in a while somebody's taking it too seriously, and it's like they've got they know who their main competitor is, and there's like some dirty underhand tactics going on of like
yeah, and the party could have to be hired to like protect or investigate.
Like they break in
stuff.
overnight and like feed the cows some weird stuff that makes their cheese taste weird, like
sours the milk.
Yeah. Sacre bleu, my cows, they are sick. I really ought to cut that out. Once again, we apologise to any French listeners, but you know.
So yeah, I would say verduma, which is Dutch, but God damn it.
We haven't really got a Netherlands analogue in this. We kind of talked about last time where I've kind of added all these extra countries. And like a Charlotte, Vallanna's kind of like, I guess, partly England, partly German, vaguely, like, but mainly English. So that sort of that kind of vibe of like quasi medieval could be anywhere thing. Which, and I don't know why it just seems to sort of default. A Charlotte's kind of the French analog, sort of. Eralia, which is the one I had to rename, is I have renamed. It used to be something else. That's kind of Switzerland. Sarvea is kind of Spain, and Sathia is kind of Greece. The other ones aren't really anything. They don't have like a sort of analog to any real life country, really. But yeah, so we've got our kind of that, but we haven't really got like a Dutch sort of zone. Maybe in the wider map. Yeah.
There's an island somewhere.
Yeah. God, I like that. The cheese thing there. That's fun. Shall we let's look at one more. I think we've got time to look at one more, I think. The other one that jumped well, actually I was gonna say, is there anything that jumped out at you as like that would be a cool one? I've got one in mind, but if there's one you'd rather do, then that's
I did see the one right about an assuming character who secretly controls things from behind the scenes, and I just keep thinking of like this little monk for some reason, just like, I'm a monk, I'm trying to do as best things I can for the world, and he like pops up, or like one of his associates pops up every now and again. It's like, can you help me, adventurer? I need you to do this, but it's actually them like accumulating stuff for their own selfish needs, like some sort of like weak cult or something. And they're like, no, we're really nice people. They're all like, hello, I'm Father so-and-so. I'm trying to help these poor children. Yeah, I know.
No, I like that. Like
these
they're
poor
like,
little orphans.
On the face
really,
of things, they're running like an orphanage or something, and they they go around being like, that nobody really pays too much attention, but they think, oh yeah, they're good people.
But really, they're like in the drugs trade or some like serious black
the orphanage is
stuff.
like a sweatshop, but like, this has gone real dark.
See, I only mentioned the orphanage once. I was meaning more like go. Can you buy us some herbs to like help? And it's actually to like help murder someone, or like they're all doing these little like they're the middle people for a more darker like evil plot to take over, like, or like convert a large proportion of people to their squirrel god or something. I don't know.
Well, I think with that prompt, the write about an unassuming character who secretly controls things from behind the scenes. Like mine went completely the other way. Like it's like the king's butler or something, who was just like, like, you know, he was just in like super subtle ways. He was like choosing the order of people that the king saw, knowing that by the end of the day the king is like super bored and just doesn't pay attention. So he puts the things that he thinks is important first and stuff.
Yeah. He controls the agenda. Yeah. Almost.
But that almost sort of goes against, in my mind, I haven't got it that the king is like too, like, he's not like going senile or anything like that. He's still with it, and that he's, So I don't know how that fits. I hadn't really thought too much about that prompt, to be honest.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a king. It could be like a regional lord or something that just has a large amount of land or power.
Yeah, that's
they have
cool.
an advisor that's just whispering in their ear, kind of like the, and just like poisoning, or maybe they're like the local, the region's like sorcerer or mage or like healer or like elder kind of thing, and he's just like in the background while the lord or whoever controls everything, he's like, oh no, he's counseling him like a certain way.
Yeah,
in
or
public,
like maybe
but then
maybe the lord is like actually really useless, but he's got this reputation for like, oh no, that's a really great place, like everything's run really well, they make great decisions, but really the lord is just turning up and basically like we say, this like servant is basically setting his agenda, because the servant actually knows like how the place should be run to make things work properly, and he's just making sure that it happens, but the lord's taking credit for it and everything.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be a servant. It could be like a family member, or like his brother or sister who's like vying for for their power and just like playing the game.
Yeah. Like maybe the family takes, like, I mean, I've sort of got it in mind that like, pretty much there's not like a sort of there's no sort of like, oh no, only the son can be king or anything like that. There's no nothing like that in this setting, really. At least not in our main bit. Maybe in some of the other countries where it's like we can, that's something to explore. But by and large in this one, there's queens, there's duchesses, there's all this stuff. But maybe like this one family has more got like a tradition of like, oh no. This is the men take control in this family, that, and like it's like twins, and the son is a complete idiot, but he's in charge because the dad died. And the sister's just like, he puts on a brave face, and then as soon as nobody's looking, he's like, tell me, sister, what do I do, please?
yeah exactly. He's completely clueless how to run whatever their estate or their lands or whatever. He's like, I don't understand.
And she's just
maybe he can't read, maybe he can't read or write or something, and he's just like, I'll totally deal with that. And she's like,
so she writes all of his correspondence and everything and just signs it as him, and anything that's like a decree, she's actually the one writing it, and then he's just like, I will give you my orders soon, I will write them out for you, and you can you can go ahead and do them. It's, oh, thank you, my lord. I guess, sister, please help. I like
she's always in the council room just taking notes,
sitting in the corner.
She's always sitting in the corner, like pretending to knit or something when she's actually listening to every single word that's going on.
And
they're like, why is the woman here? Why is she?
And he's just like, oh, let her be. She likes.
She should be married by now. And it's like, and she's just like, no one is marrying me off to anywhere.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool. I think that's a story to come back to and explore in its own thing. I think. I don't want to pin that to any particular place right now, because that's something to maybe come back to as like a proper, because that's a proper storyline. That not just like here's an elf with a coffee machine. This is like here's some like intrigue and stuff. So yeah, that's something to think about. I think that I really like that. That's good.
Yeah, especially like whereabouts you want to place it in terms of like your own like headcanon.
Yeah, because I need to I've got vague ideas in some of the not in every place, but in some of the places about like what the kind of the vibe of like the local leaders are and stuff. So
yeah,
if not one of those, I need to find a place where I can think like, well, how is this going to play off one of the other local leaders and stuff. So that I'm gonna have to have a bit of a think about that. But I really like that as a concept. That's really cool. So yeah, let's call this here. I don't know whether we've got time before the end of the World Anvil Challenge to look at any more of these. Like, I mean, we'll see how it goes. We could always, we'll see how it goes. We might do another look at these prompts in another episode. But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna call it. Do you have anything you wanted to add before we wrap this up?
I'm just wondering what the teeth of people who are going to be eating through the cheese are going to be like.
Well, that's a good point.
And how smelly they're going to be as well, because...
Well, a lot of them might be like random peasant villages and stuff, so already probably not great.
Eat this giant block of cheese. Okay.
Do it. Be a winner. Be somebody. What an image to end on. Smelly cheese peasants. Great. No, I like it. So yeah, okay. Well, we are as always on social media at Pretend with Dice on Twitter and Facebook. You can email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. We've been running for over 3 years now. No one has ever emailed us, so you could still be the first, is what I'm saying. Listeners,
challenge.
Yeah. This is your challenge for this week. Send me an email. Tell me how you're doing. pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. We have our Discord server, which we've had a few people join, which is always fun. You can find the link to that in our Twitter bio. I don't really know that much about how Discord works in terms of like, can you just search for servers? Maybe.
I think if your server is public, then it's searchable, but you'd have to check in your settings.
Yeah, I don't know if it's public or not. Either way, the link to get straight onto our server is on our Twitter bio. So yeah, go check that out. Come hang out. Mainly we use it for posting weird memes and stuff.
Lots of memes.
Yeah, but that we have been running. Eden has been running every Sunday a Jackbox Games session on there. Open to everybody on the server. So come on down and play some stupid games with us. It'd be fun. I don't think there's anything else to add than that, other than hopefully we should have another bonus episode for you in a couple of weeks. So yeah. My brain has just shut down, so I don't know if that's how I end episodes or not.
Say bye, AJ.
Bye, AJ.
Bye, guys.
See you all later. Have a good one.